All right, so if you haven't already heard, coming out in the last 24 hours, an unprecedented move by the Trump administration is currently being proposed right now, and that is stimulus checks for 2025. Unlike anything that you had seen before when we had the stimulus checks going out during the pandemic, this would be huge, and this would be courtesy of all of that auditing that's taking place due to DOGE, and they're saying that all of the savings that are coming back right now give a percentage back to the people, and they're saving so much that even just giving a small portion would equate to a massive stimulus check. Now, let me share with you the latest headlines and video footage so you can see it for yourself. As always, these are going to be linked in the description below, but take a look with me. Will Americans be getting a 2025 stimulus check refund thanks to DOGE savings? Well, Elon Musk is expressing interest in sending out DOGE checks. The proposal calls for sending 20% of the savings back to the taxpayers. So I've been reporting to you, they've been finding massive fraud, massive corruption, they're claiming, taking place in the federal government. There's massive savings coming back, and they are saying, hey, give it back to the people. If you like the sound of that, hit the like button. But let's take a look at some more headlines. Stimulus check in 2025. And again, just to clarify, take a look at the dates on these. Like I said, coming out in the last 24 hours. This is coming out today, February the 19th, 2025. Stimulus checks in 2025. Here is what we know. And they're going to be covering the details of how DOGE is uncovering all of this money. In fact, let's take a look at the DOGE live tracker right now. So this is the live tracker. All you got to do is go to www.doge-tracker.com. You can see here that DOGE, it has recovered since January 21st, $55 billion tax dollars that have been saved. They are only at 2.75% of the goal. The goal is to save $2 trillion. And Elon Musk and Donald Trump are saying, while we save this, why don't we give a percentage back to the people? This is coming out. Like I said, I'm going to play for you the video footage so you can see it for yourself. And they're saying not only will we save on the national debt, but we can give a little check back to the American people. Well, let me revise that. A big check back to the American people. So the goal is $2 trillion. You can see there's still 500 days remaining in this adventure, this venture by DOGE. Currently, they're saying the savings equates to $360 per taxpayer, and we're only at 2%. They're saying that we are going to get way up there to where it's going to be a significant payment. And here's a breakdown. Savings by the day. All of the clawed back, corrupted, mismanaged funds from the federal government. And you can see the biggest one right here, U.S. Agency of International Development, or the USAID, Department of Education, Social Security Administration. They're saying this is going to be a big one, and they are keeping track here. So all you got to do is go over here and you can see the tracker, very similar to what we saw when they were actually handing out the stimulus checks. And take a look at this. This is the COVID money tracker. This is back when we had the pandemic. What's interesting is if you take a look at this, the tracker for the Responsible Federal Budget, the committee's website, there's actually still leftover funds. Talk about mismanagement from the pandemic to the tune of $300 billion of legislative action. We still have trillions for Federal Reserve. And this is where we got the numbers and the breakouts for all those stimulus checks we received during the pandemic. As you'll recall, if you take a look right here, direct payments, you can see the 3 stimulus check phases that went out. Well, they're saying now, let's do one for the American people because they've been getting ripped off for so long. Let's take some of the savings and just give 20% back to the people. Put the rest, get it away from our national debt. And that 20% savings, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to read through the details. But they're saying that this would equate to, they're saying potentially $8,000 per household. They're saying they believe it'll be around $5,000 per household. So those are the numbers that are being thrown out right now that I'm reading in these articles. Now, this is just, as I mentioned, this is breaking news. This has come out in roughly the last 24 hours that they are considering this, that Elon Musk is saying, hey, let's send the money back to the people. And Donald Trump is saying, I like the sound of that. You know what? Let's do it. If you like the sound of that, go ahead and hit that like button and put a 47 in the comments, as we are hearing that there is a proposed Trump stimulus refund check. So this is not a COVID refund check that's needed for a pandemic. They're saying this is a stimulus refund check because the American people are getting ripped off by the federal government. DOGE is finding massive savings, and they want to give a portion back to the American people to say, hey, this is your money. It has been mismanaged, and let's go ahead and give it back to the people. And like I said, if you like the sound of that, drop a 47 and hit that like button for me. But let's dive into the details. Like I said, this is breaking news coming out. This is unprecedented. What is coming out here, and this is, like I said, we're talking about somewhere in the range of $5,000 to $8,000 per household, just absolutely trumping, pun intended, these stimulus checks that we had seen during the pandemic. So these are no joke checks that are being discussed right now. So let's dive into the articles, the details. I've even got some video footage that came out this morning where they're going to discuss it. That's right. So like I said, breaking news coming out in the last 24 hours. And if you like the sound of that, if you appreciate the updates, hit the like button, subscribe to stay up to date here on the channel. I keep you up to speed on everything, all the breaking news. It's totally free. Why not? Hit the subscribe button. Also, these articles and videos are going to be linked down in the description below. You can also see a link to the DOGE tracker if you'd like to follow it yourself. And yeah, there was something else, but I forgot. Let's just go ahead and get right to it so that way you can see it, you guys. Let's take a look at this video footage coming out just this morning of the updates coming out. We've got some video footage as they're discussing. It says Trump administration considering stimulus checks for taxpayers. Let's take a look at the video footage. Oh, and I remember what it is. Share the video out. Sharing the video out helps out a ton. I appreciate it. Let's take a look at this footage.
Top political headlines this morning. We're learning the White House could consider refund checks for taxpayers as part of the administration's push to cut federal spending. That comes as the new Department of Government Efficiency got some good news from a federal court. But as Doug Luzada reports from Washington this morning, the legal challenges continue.
Well, the White House says the cost savings are mounting because of federal cutbacks, but so are the controversies. And the president's chief cost cutter is mulling the possibility of DOGE dividend checks.
I think he's going to find $1 trillion.
Yeah, I think so.
President Trump and Elon Musk setting their sights high for spending cuts during an interview with Fox's Sean Hannity. And while federal employee layoffs have sparked protests, Musk says the goal is essential.
If the deficit is not brought under control, America will go bankrupt. This is a very important thing for people to understand.
And Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, has a running count of the savings, now pegged at $55 billion. When a user on X suggested cutting checks to taxpayers to refund some of those savings, Musk replied, "We'll check with the president."
This is nothing more than a money grab.
Democratic critics have been unsparing in their criticism of his cuts. But a federal judge told a group of Democratic state attorneys general that she will not cut off DOGE's access to federal systems without clear evidence of imminent, irreparable harm. The current record does not meet that standard, she wrote. Still, Democrats plan to keep up their opposition.
DOGE is simply taking a meat axe at government in defiance of the law and without thinking of the consequences.
DOGE, meantime, is now looking at the use of government credit cards, saying there are more than 4 million of them. In Washington,
There you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. You heard them say that they are thinking about taking this back, and this is due to courtesy of DOGE finding so far, just in the first month now, starting January 20th, $55 billion of clawed back funds to mismanagement, wasteful use. They're even saying corruption and fraud potentially. But let's take a look at these articles so that way you can see it for yourself. Let's start off with this one right here that says Elon Musk expresses interest in sending out DOGE checks. The proposal calls for sending 20% of the savings back to the taxpayers. And like I said, this is roughly, I'd say 24 hours or so, really starting to get reported on. So this is pretty huge breaking news coming out here. And again, if you appreciate it, hit the like button. As they're saying, like I said, you're going to see here, they're saying this could equate to, if they hit their goal, somewhere in the range of $5,000 to $8,000 refund checks that they would send out to the American people. And this is not like they're compromising the savings. They're saying this would be 20%. 80% would go towards the debt. And they're saying, hey, send 20%. You can see right here, back to the American people. And that would equate to, they're saying, roughly around $5,000 to $8,000. And that's a tax refund, just to clarify that you're not taxed on that money. So I saw somebody mention that in the comments. No, this is a stimulus check refund. You get the full 100% of that check. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. You can see this coming out yesterday evening. Elon Musk said that he will bring to President Donald Trump a proposal to send Americans rebate checks representing a portion of the money that they have saved by slashing the federal government. On Tuesday yesterday, Musk posted on X that he will check with the president on Azoria CEO and co-founder James Fishback's idea to send out DOGE dividend checks. The plan calls for returning 20% of the savings generated by the Department of Government Efficiency back to taxpayers in the form of direct payments, aka stimulus refund checks. We want to help make DOGE real for millions of Americans. They deserve a portion of the savings that DOGE will be delivering under President Trump's leadership, Fishback said. Fishback, the founder of a self-styled free-thinking investment firm, recently launched a fund backing companies that reject diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and has been vocal supporters of Trump and Musk's agenda. If Musk successfully meets his lofty $2 trillion government savings goal, Fishback's proposal would distribute $400 billion back to taxpayers, roughly $5,000 per household. So like I said, somebody in the beginning of this live stream said, I'd like a $5,000 check to get a new car. And I messaged them back immediately and said, your wish might be coming true here. $5,000 per household for the 78 million households that pay federal income tax. The proposed rebate would be less in the more likely scenario that the billionaire DOGE efforts failed to reach the target. So they're saying this is contingent upon how much they actually achieve. So the more clawbacks they get, the more they clean up house, the bigger that check will be for the American people. Mr. Albertazzi, thank you for the $10 super chat. What amount the federal debt, which is over, what about the federal debt? So yes, they're saying 80% goes to the federal debt. So these clawbacks are not for the purpose of checks, but they're saying while we're clawing this back and we're going to cut back, they're saying the goal is $2 trillion. Let's just give a portion of it back to the people because this is your taxpayer money anyways. The mismanagement, the misuse of these funds, it's for people that have been paying into the system. Why don't we give a portion of it back? So that is the proposal right now. But the rest, the 80%, is going to be pulling back on that debt, like you said. Now, budget experts warn that such a rebate program would require congressional approval, and lawmakers may prefer to use that money in other ways. Some House Republicans have suggested the savings should go towards reducing the national debt. Other Republicans are eyeing DOGE savings for a different purpose, paying for extensions of tax provisions enacted during the Trump's first term. If the DOGE dividend proposal is real, you have to have a way to of estimating and collecting the amounts that are being saved and putting them into some account. Both OMB and CBO would look at that. And then Treasury would then record those amounts. Former OMB official and George Washington University lecturer of public policy and public administration F. Stevens Redburn said. Now, Redburn emphasized that even if there were measurable savings, Congress would still need to authorize the repayment to taxpayers and method of distribution. Additionally, the legality of DOGE remains in flux, with several elements of Musk's plans facing scrutiny in the courts. The idea of government-issued checks isn't new for Trump. During his first term in office, the government sent out 2 rounds of stimulus checks to millions of Americans to help keep them afloat during the pandemic. The checks were politically popular, and former President Joe Biden lamented not putting his name on the relief checks issued during his term, calling the move stupid. So, man, let me know your thoughts. We're hearing that this is coming out here roughly in the last 24 hours, like I said, starting to be reported on in detail, and that is why we're seeing articles coming out like this. Now, take a look. This one coming out yesterday evening as well. So like I said, yesterday, Elon Musk came out with this, said, hey, the savings we are going to get. Yes, we're going to help out with the national debt. We want to stop potential bankruptcy and all of this stuff. But why don't we just give it back to the people? Give some of it back to the people. So they're proposing roughly about 20% going back to individuals. So here is another article coming out on this one from Newsweek. Will Americans get a 2025 stimulus check refund thanks to DOGE savings? And this one I think is going to be covering some of the numbers and details for you as well. It says President Donald Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, which is looking to reduce federal costs, has some Americans wondering if they should expect a stimulus check courtesy of the savings. DOGE, led by Tesla's billionaire Elon Musk, has recommended mass layoffs in federal governments as a means of eliminating $2 trillion of yearly in funding from major U.S. agencies. As Americans haven't received stimulus checks en masse since 2021, some are hoping that the DOGE cuts, they could open the door to further payments sent to Americans. But even more than that, as we just read, this is actually being proposed right now. Now, Americans online, they've been urging DOGE to release stimulus checks, with one viral TikTok saying taxpayers could get as much as $8,000 due to the department's federal cuts. So again, they are taking a look at the numbers of the savings and saying it could be as much as $8,000. They're saying that they believe that the household refund checks will be around $5,000. Now, Azoria investment firm CEO James Fishback. So this is the individual, as we mentioned, that kind of came up with the idea, and then Elon Musk said, hey, I think that's a great idea. He posted on X that money from Doge's savings should be sent back to the American taxpayers as a Doge dividend. American taxpayers deserve a Doge dividend. 20% of that money that Doge saves should be sent back to the hardworking Americans as a tax refund check. And there it is. 20% of that money that Doge saves should be sent back to the hardworking Americans as a tax refund check. If you like the sound of that, hit that like button for me. Now, Fishback said on the social media platform that it was their money in the first place. At $2 trillion in Doge savings and 78 million tax-paying households, this is a $5,000 refund per household, with the remaining used to pay down the national debt. So 80% goes towards the debt, 20% goes back to the American people, saying, hey, this is almost like a, hey, we're sorry of all the mismanagement, the misuse of the funds. We're giving some of it back to the people. Elon Musk said, let's do this. This is how we rebuild trust in our government. Wow. Let me know your thoughts. Talk about a change in narrative. Elon Musk saying, yes, let's do it. And is proposing this to Donald Trump. We're hearing this could be the Trump stimulus plan starting in 2025. $5,000 checks from the clawbacks coming from Doge, from the federal government. Now, how much money has Doge saved so far? As I shared with you from the Doge Live Tracker, $55 billion. This article says, according to the Doge Live Tracker, $55 billion has been saved due to Musk's recommended cuts as of Tuesday, yesterday. Doge's most substantial cuts have targeted the federal government's workforce, specifically agencies like the United States Agency of International Development, which has had its funding slashed by $420 million, according to the Polymarket. Other major reductions are planned for the Food and Drug Administration, National Institutes of Health, and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Musk also posted about his desire to reduce fraud for Social Security. I've been keeping you up on that. They're saying that it is massive mismanagement. We're going to see what comes of that. I will keep you up to date. Now, writing on X, he said, according to the Social Security database, these are the numbers of people in each age bucket with death fields set to false. Maybe Twilight is real, and there are lots of vampires collecting Social Security, because we're hearing that literally millions and millions of people over the age of 110, 6 million people to age 150 or older. Trump has also mandated all federal workers to return to the office and implemented a federal worker hiring freeze. So will Americans be getting a refund check from Doge's savings? There has been no indication that Doge's cuts will result in refund checks for Americans. So right now, just to clarify, this is breaking news that it's just been proposed. It was suggested by the CEO, Mr. Fishback, yesterday, to which Elon Musk responded and said, let's do it. I'm on board. I'm going to propose it to Trump. We're hearing that Trump is taking this into consideration. But as of right now, there's no legislation that has said this is happening. However, this is popping up right now. This is being considered, and this is coming out all over the news media outlets. And like I said, I actually shared for you video footage. This is being reported on that right now, a Doge dividend, a Trump stimulus refund check to all American households in the amount of potentially $5,000 is under consideration right now. Now, what are people saying? Alex Bean, financial literacy instructor for the University of Tennessee at Martin, told Newsweek, while a future stimulus check isn't impossible and certainly could be seen as a goodwill gesture to show taxpayers of all the supposed money that has been saved with these cuts and aid as financial support during high inflationary times, the unfortunate reality is odds of checks being sent out are fairly low. Even with the potential savings of recent cuts, stimulus checks are an incredibly expensive endeavor for the government already deeply in debt and facing no pandemic-level emergency to undertake. I would expect the legislature will hold out hope of new proposals like tax cuts and less restrictions on some government benefit programs as a way to steer eyes away from stimulus checks being the sole way to help Americans. So there we have one particular individual from the University of Tennessee, that's a financial literacy instructor, Alex Bean, saying he doesn't think it's very likely. However, we will see, because right now, we'll see what direction we go with these savings. Now, let's take a look at this one. Kevin Thompson, finance expert and founder, CEO of 9A Capital, told Newsweek about the likelihood of another stimulus check under DOGE. He said absolutely not, and it wouldn't be good for the economy. If people thought inflation was bad last year and prices are still stubbornly high now, imagine what would happen if we pumped even more money into the system. It would be like giving a donut to someone managing diabetes. Not exactly a good combination. Now, Michael Ryan, financial expert and founder of MichaelRyanMoney.com, told Newsweek, DOGE finding waste is more likely catching billing errors. It just means we're borrowing slightly less money. Not that we suddenly have extra cash to spread around. When DOGE talks about saving $55 billion by catching fraud and waste, that's kind of like finding a coupon when we're already maxed out on our credit cards. Sure, it's great that we're spending less, but it's not like the grocery store is going to hand us cash back. We're still deep in the red. So right now, several financial experts that are reporting to Newsweek, they think that it is unlikely that we're going to go this route. But we will see, because like I said, in the last 24 hours, this coming out, Mr. Fishback proposed this. Elon Musk said, I'm on board. And we're hearing that the Trump administration is considering this. So what happens next? Thompson said the Trump administration is focused on reducing spending, not increasing it through additional stimulus checks. Any budget adjustments will likely come through extending the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which would require $4.5 trillion to maintain those benefits. I expect policymakers to use any savings to pay for the extension of the TCJA by offsetting future liabilities. So there you have it, you guys. We are hearing that this is under consideration. This is being proposed. You can see here by Elon Musk, and articles coming out like this. You can see today, stimulus checks in 2025. Here's what we know. And this is coming from the DOGE. Approximately 1 million taxpayers were designated this filing season to receive unclaimed rebate checks. Separately, Elon Musk has indicated that he will discuss with Trump whether savings in the federal government spending could refund to taxpayers. So this is what has been coming out here in the last 24 hours. And again, to clarify, no widespread stimulus checks are pending for 2025. So this has not been made official. This is proposed. And this coming out all over. Now, they're talking about old pandemic stimulus checks in this one, but we're talking about the new ones just coming out as a result of DOGE. And again, for those of you hopping on a little bit late here, this is the DOGE Live Tracker. We are hearing that there are proposals coming out in the last 24 hours for DOGE dividends, Trump stimulus refund checks, and this has been presented to Donald Trump by Elon Musk as a result of somebody recommending it to CEO, Mr. Fishback. And we're hearing that they are saying, right now we've already saved $55 billion as a result of DOGE going through different federal agencies. The goal is $2 trillion. And when we hit that, they're saying the savings that could be done per taxpayer will be massive. And just 20% of that would equate to $5,000 per household that could be sent out in the form of a stimulus refund check. And like I said, this is actually coming out in news reports. Let me play this for you again, so that way, for those of you coming on a little bit late, you can see it coming out today. Let's take a look.
We're learning the White House could consider refund checks for taxpayers as part of the administration's push to cut federal spending. That comes as the new Department of Government Efficiency got some good news from a federal court. But as Doug Luzada reports from Washington this morning, the legal challenges continue.
Well, the White House says the cost savings are mounting because of federal cutbacks, but so are the controversies. And the president's chief cost cutter is mulling the possibility of DOGE dividend checks.
I think he's going to find $1 trillion.
Yeah, I think so.
President Trump and Elon Musk setting their sights high for spending cuts during an interview with Fox's Sean Hannity. And while federal employee layoffs have sparked protests, Musk says the goal is essential.
If the deficit is not brought under control, America will go bankrupt. This is a very important thing for people to understand.
And Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, has a running count of the savings, now pegged at $55 billion. When a user on X suggested cutting checks to taxpayers to refund some of those savings, Musk replied, "We'll check with the president."
This is nothing more than a money grab.
Democratic critics have been unsparing in their criticism of his cuts. But a federal judge told a group of Democratic state attorneys general that she will not cut off DOGE's access to federal systems without clear evidence of imminent, irreparable harm. The current record does not meet that standard, she wrote. Still, Democrats plan to keep up their opposition.
DOGE is simply taking a meat axe at government in defiance of the law and without thinking of the consequences.
DOGE, meantime, is now looking at the use of government credit cards, saying there are more than 4 million of them. In Washington,
There you have it, you guys. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is a good idea? We're hearing that the savings is going to be, they're shooting for $2 trillion. And they said just give 20% back to the American people. 80% can go towards the national debt. We're going to clean up house, wipe it out, but just give a small portion back to the people. And that would equate to a $5,000 check per household. Do you like the sounds of that? Do you think this is a good idea? Or do you think no? Put it all towards the national debt, which is what a lot of people are vocalizing as well. Or they're saying do some other form of an incentive. If you like the sound of this idea, put yes in the comments. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts. And while you're putting those yeses and nos, also do me a favor, hit the like button. It looks like we just need 40 more likes. We'll have 2,000 likes while we're live. Really helps out the channel a ton. But like I said, this coming out in the last 24 hours, they are suggesting an unprecedented move here, but everything has been unprecedented with DOGE going through and saying, hey, all of these various federal agencies that are supposed to be good stewards of our money, who is holding them accountable? Nobody. So now they're saying it's time for DOGE to hold them accountable, and DOGE is coming through and is finding some pretty shocking, unprecedented things taking place. I've been reporting it to you. And now they're saying, hey, in addition to us cleaning up and making sure that we have good stewardship of U.S. tax dollars, let's go ahead and take some of it, 20%, and give it back. And that's going to equate to $5,000 per household. That's going to be going out to the American people. Man, let me know your thoughts. And Elon Musk said, is there any better way to help instill confidence in our U.S. government than to go through, clean up house, and give some of that money back to the people? And again, if you think this is a good idea, put a yes. If you think no, put a no. And hit that like button. It helps out this video. Also, share this out across various platforms and locations so that way people can hear. Because like I said, this just coming out in roughly the last 24 hours. This new proposal that we're hearing is being taken into consideration. And this is as a result of DOGE. This is the DOGE Live Tracker. This is going to be linked in the description if you want to check it in the coming days, see where we're at. But right now, the savings equates to $360 per person. So this is not per household. This is per person. And we are only not even 3% of the way there. And they're saying when we get 100% of the way there, that's going to equate to a $5,000 check per house. So big news coming out today, February the 19th, 2025. As more comes out on this, I will be sure to keep you guys up to date. And I see a lot of yeses pouring in. A lot of people saying, yes, send out those checks. Yes, please. I'm seeing people are saying, send out those stimulus checks of $5,000 to the American people. Somebody saying this is our money anyways. It's all taxpayer money. Somebody said, I'm not for the 80-20 split. Somebody else is saying, yes, please. 80% going towards the national debt, 20% going back to the people as a result of saying, hey, sorry for the mismanagement taking place. And Elon said this is a step in the right direction for the American people to start trusting the U.S. government again, or to start saying, hey, you know, this is good faith. This is goodwill. There's somebody in there that's doing something that's going to help us out. So we will see. I will keep you guys up to date. And I see people asking about Social Security as well. Yeah, I'm going to keep you up to date on that too, because there's a lot coming out on Social Security. But you guys, big news coming out today, February the 19th, 2025, across the news media headlines, across video footage coming out, unprecedented stimulus refund checks, DOGE dividends to the tune of $5,000 per household being proposed, being suggested by a CEO, to which Elon Musk responded, "Let's do it. I like it. I'm going to present it to the president, see what he says." And we're hearing that proposal. It has been presented, and we are going to see where we go from here. So, like I said, I will keep you guys up to date. Hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, share this out. As more comes out, I'll report it here on the channel so you know exactly what is going on. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll keep you up to speed on everything, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless.